Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities Behind Black Business. And tonight we have Arthur Ward, who is a loan facilitator. Now, we're always talking about how we can support Black businesses, and we talk about many of the challenges that our businesses are having, and access to capital is major. I would say that's at the top of the list. And so Arthur is going to be talking to us about some product and services that he can offer to help some of you businesses out there tonight. So, Arthur, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Denise. Uh, now, I am a loan facilitator. My primary focus is small to medium-sized businesses. I also
Okay.
deal with gig workers. I also deal with people that drive for Lyft and Uber that need loans for expanding their business for whatever reason. Uh, my loans range anywhere from $300 all the way up to 2 million. Uh,
Okay, so
yeah,
this is going to be an interesting conversation with that amount of money. And so I think you are definitely in a position to help some people. So
yeah.
I did contact some of our previous business owners, and I hope some of you are able to be on this website tonight and get this information. This is real important, real
Right.
important.
Very good.
Um, so, family, as you know, we're a nonprofit organization. We're working to enhance the awareness and support of Black businesses here in the Chicago. And in order to do that, we need our support. We need to enhance our awareness that there are Black businesses in Chicago, and we have a directory that is building out on our website. If you go to rrgbc.org, we have many of the businesses that have been on our podcast listed in our directory.
Hmm.
We have to develop a consciousness of when I need a service, when I need a product, um, who has that service? Who has those products in my community that I can go to and spend my dollars with? Because when you spend those dollars with businesses in your community, those dollars circulate and they come back.
Hmm.
And we've talked many times about the other communities here in Chicago. They say Chicago is one of the most segregated communities of cities in the country, and there's some truth to that. And you go to different areas, and when you go to different areas, you see predominantly that there's an ethnic group that is dominating as far as living in that community, and they're dominant in terms of who owns the businesses in those communities. And we're getting better, but we're just still fragmented in that area, and that's something that we need to improve for Black businesses. And as you know, supporting our Black owned bookstores, and we feature a Black bookstore on our website every month. And this month, it has been Frontline Bookstore. Frontline Bookstore, you can contact them at frontlinebooks.com. They have a very nice website. And Brother Say Cool is available to provide you with whatever type of read that you're looking for. So go to frontlinebooks.com and support Frontline Books. And we had a good book giveaway for this month, and it was Groundings with My Brothers by Walter Rodney, rather. And this book was selected by Brother Sekou from Frontline. And this is a book about an anti-colonial activist who led movements throughout the Caribbean and Africa, a lot of revolutionary types of movements. And so our winner was Robin Muhammad. And I've contacted Robin. Robin is all the way in Flint, Michigan. She's one of our subscribers. So in order to win in our book giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to rrgbc.org. Your name will go on the list. And when we have our book giveaway, we make a selection for a winner, and we pay for the book and the shipping. We ask that you read the book, support that bookstore, look at that bookstore for some of your reads. And then we continue to push our public policy for getting contracts with our bookstores. Contracts are important for our bookstores, and we have a very large educational system here, the Chicago Public Schools. We have libraries. We have independent schools. We want to get contracts for our bookstores, not just one person or one company providing all of the books. So we're asking that you go to Save Black Bookstores at change.org, and that's Save Black Bookstores at change.org, and sign our petition. We're working towards 1,000 signatures. We have about 700 signatures now. So please go and sign our petition. And lastly, which is going to also lead into a conversation, a topical conversation with our guest tonight, is the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. This is a financial institution in our community, and they have been supporting the community for over 20 years. And right now, they have a lot of products to offer. They even have a payday loan with a 12% interest rate, and that's way below what many of these payday loans are paying people today, which are running people into financial ruin, trying to pay those types of loans back. They've got car loans, they've got mortgage loans, they've got personal loans, and they're not just interested in you coming and getting a loan with their company or their banking system, but they also want to help you finances, understanding. And so please support the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. They are a banking institution, and in order for them to thrive, they need you to open up accounts. All right? So we want you to do that. All right. So, Arthur,
Yes.
you are definitely doing some important work here, um, as
Hmm.
terms of being a loan facilitator. And I know
Hmm.
getting loans is not easy, and especially for Black people. And so we want to talk about this in two tiers tonight. We want to talk about this problem of getting access to capital, and then we want to talk about
Hmm.
the products and services that you have to offer. So I'd like to start out with discussing why are Black businesses having such a problem getting access to capital, because we know that's one of, I keep hearing over and over, that's one of their main problems. And we can
Hmm.
maybe start. Okay, go
Race,
ahead.
racism.
Okay, yeah, definitely,
That's a real simple.
definitely, that is one of them. And I think we were talking
Racism.
about this earlier, because I believe a lot of what you're offering is online. And I was asking you, I was saying, well, how do these people know? But you said people who actually walk in the bank.
Yeah, when they see you. But I think that my system is better because the brokers and the lenders that I deal with through this, they don't see the person. All they see is the
Mm-hmm.
numbers, which I feel is much better. And I'll tell you this now. I think I told no, I didn't. I don't know if I told you not. Now I operate in all 50 states plus Canada.
Okay.
Uh, and I know, and I'm going to be honest. The majority of people that I've gotten funded so far have been Hispanic.
Okay.
Yeah, they see my ad because I put out there's an ad that I have on Craigslist. Amazingly, I have a small ad on Craigslist and I get all kinds of calls. I just got a call yesterday from an Hispanic guy that was trying to get $25,000 because he has a trucking
Mm-hmm.
company. He has a small trucking company and he wanted to get a down payment together to get another truck. They're funding him today.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're funding him today.
So, so you're able to
Yeah,
bypass this discrimination because they're not looking at the person and their ethnicity,
yeah.
but they're
No,
looking at the numbers. What are they looking at?
they're looking at they're looking at monthly revenues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For example, let's say I'll give a small example. Let's say if you're an Uber driver. Now, the way that they pay Uber drivers is like when you go through the app and request a fare, and then that fare, when you actually get into the vehicle, the system funds uh, your ride, from your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that money goes from your bank account through the Uber system, and then it goes into the driver's bank account. Okay, so my company is able to see that activity when when you pull down 3 months of bank statements. Okay, we see that you're getting the cash flow. We see that you are revenuing a minimum of $3,000 per month just doing your Uber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and from there, in addition to your credit score, they're able to, fund you whatever that might be according to, every individual is different, but that's basically the criteria that they use to fund people,
Okay.
and it's not that complicated.
Okay. Well, with many black businesses, I know have
Hmm.
difficulty with startup costs. So
Well,
in that instance, there wouldn't be
no,
a revenue stream there.
my system only right. My system only deals with businesses that are already in business,
Okay.
at least a minimum of 4 months.
A minimum
When it comes 4 months,
4
you gotta
months.
at a minimum of 4 months. Yeah,
Okay. A
yeah.
minimum of 4 months, and then
Hmm.
this credit score driven.
Yeah, credit score driven, but that's flexible too, depending on who's looking at the loan. Because when they go through my system, anywhere between 20 to 30 different lenders are looking at that particular ask. Some lenders may reject it. Maybe one or two may want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Depends. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the added advantage in going through a person like me, because like if you're going through a bank, then you're just going through that one bank.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, but when you're going through me, it's like going several banks or finance companies are looking at it. Some may want not want to do it. Some may want to do it. And then out of the group of who wants to do it, who's going to give the best terms, and they work that out between themselves, and then the person finally gets an offer.
Okay.
So that's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
So How does this benefit black business owners? Because you've been a business owner yourself, and you know some of the
Yes.
challenges that black businesses have. And so,
Hmm.
how can black businesses benefit from this? Would you say
Well,
outside of the fact
because of
that
the
you're not looking at the fact that they're black, you know?
yeah, well, that is the biggest benefit.
Okay.
Right there is that's the obstacle, whether or not they're black. Because you and I'm sure other people that are watching this program have heard of instances where a black business will have good revenues, excellent credit score, and they're very viable. But the only reason why they are not getting a loan is because they're black,
Mm-hmm.
and they know it. That the bank can't say that, but that's really the reason. That's really the reason. And a lot of times we may not get help from the inside. It's just like when I had my last store. Uh, I was trying to get a line of credit. My credit score was good, revenue was there, all that good stuff. And one of the loan officer that I saw, he was white, and he did not give me the line of credit. I went in there again. There was a sister in there, a sister that was about being on code for the community, and she got me that line of credit out the same bank.
Mm-hmm.
You
Okay.
understand? So it's like, we don't have enough people in our race that are on code, so to speak, those doors within white institutions. And a lot of times the black banks are constrained because of their most black banks are connected to a white bank in some kind of way. And
Okay.
so they have those constraints too. You understand? So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times blacks would be better off going to alternative ways of getting financing that may not necessarily be a bank, or maybe is a bank, but a better way to contact that bank rather than walking into a brick and mortar situation.
So what were some of the constraints that a black bank would have? What would be some of the issues that they may be having to make it difficult for them to give the loans?
Because they would be constrained by the rules that are laid on it by the white bank that they are connected to. That's why a lot of black banks are not as effective in the community as they should be. And a lot of the loans out of black banks go to white people.
Okay.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is.
And I
Yes,
try,
it is.
and when I was in business, I tried using black banks, and I was getting like the same results as I was getting from the white banks. Despite the fact that I had a good credit score and had good revenue coming into my business, that they could clearly see from my bank statements.
So what could black banks do to turn something like this around? Because this is a problem. You
I
know,
know. I,
you
now
don't know.
I don't know that I don't know the answer to that question. A lot of these
Okay.
black banks, like I said, they're giving loans to white businesses, and then the remaining of the money that they have in their banks, they invest that in treasury bonds rather than using that money as a loan pool for black businesses in the community that they are supposedly serving.
Okay.
Most of the time, the major business that black banks do are mortgages.
Okay. How does gentrification affect the lending? Were you living in a
Oh,
community that's
well,
being gentrified? Because that's happening here.
gentrification only helps the big, yeah, gentrification really only helps the big white banks.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of gentrification, you notice in places where that may have a black bank in the area and is being heavily
Mm-hmm.
gentrified, that black bank is about to go out of business, at least that particular location in that community. So that actually chokes off black banks, and it only serves Citibank, Chase, uh, uh, Fifth Third. you know, white banks. The black bank is always replaced by the white bank and whenever gentrification happens. Matter of fact, if you notice in Chicago, when gentrification is really gets
Mhm.
going, the first bank that you'll see is Fifth Third
Oh,
opening a branch there. Yeah,
okay.
that's the one that you'll see. Yeah,
Okay.
and then the black bank is slowly fading out. And then the next thing you know, that location is being taken over by Fifth Third.
This is, I
What?
mean, this is really deep, in terms of what is actually happening with the financial institutions, in our communities.
Hmm.
Um, the
Yeah.
banks that we think are, we really don't have that many black banks. Um,
No, we don't. And the other thing too that limits black banks, the majority of black people that are banking in the community are using Chase and
right.
Citibank rather than the local black bank and establishing that relationship. So that's another problem too. We don't establish relationships with the right people.
Right, right. And this is why we asking every week, for people to open up accounts at the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. And then if they had a rush on them, it could run them out of business because they don't have, the revenue to handle all of the accounts. So we really need more people, more black people opening up banks. Maybe that could be a solution, because just one couldn't
Well,
handle the rush on, everybody opening it. Say everybody started opening up account in Southside Community Federal Credit Union tomorrow. It could run Southside Community Federal Credit Union out of business.
well, yeah, but it
Hmm.
would help if more black people started opening accounts at black banks, you know, and so they could get those deposits. So, and the more black, you know what? Actually, that is one of the ways where there could be a possible solution to the way that black banks move. It is
Hmm.
because of the fact that are not that we don't that they don't have the plethora of accounts from black people that they have to put their extra money into treasury bonds in order for revenue to come into the bank, and they have a smaller pool of capital to work with because of the fact that the community doesn't bank there. Most of the time, when you see a black bank, you really people
Hmm.
banking there,
Hmm.
not really the younger people.
Okay.
And then the younger people, they're using either the large banks like Chase or Citicorp, or they're using like online situations like Charm and other quasi bank situations to move or keep money.
Okay, but again, they have so many branches. I mean, there's a Chase everywhere. There's a Citibank everywhere.
Yeah,
There's a
because
Fifth Third. There's a
that's
Fifth
where the
Third
community
everywhere.
is banking.
But
Right.
if we had more banks, you know, there's only a few banks, a few black banks here in Chicago, and I'm including
That
the credit union, there, even though it's a credit union, it's still a banking institution, but we don't have, that many. We need to have, we if we had more, you know.
you mean more bank
Yep, if
branches? We
we
don't
have
really
more
need
banks.
more.
Hmm.
We don't really need more banks. Nationally, we only need a few banks. We just need more of us putting deposits in those few banks so that those few banks can grow to be really large banks.
Hmm.
I mean, don't want to make too many banks of different owned by different people. Really,
Well, they don't
nationwide,
have to be owned by different people. It could be,
right?
they can just have a lot of branches,
Yeah,
is what I'm
a lot
saying.
of yeah, more branches.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
branches
They
cost
could,
money to run. You know what I'm
right.
saying? We really only,
Hmm.
black people, there's 40 million of us. We really only need three banks. We only really need three nationwide banks to service 40 million people. And if most black people started using those three banks, we would be doing just fine.
So I guess I'm thinking about location. I'm thinking about how people have gotten so accustomed to convenience, in
Yeah,
their community with the branches
right,
in their community. I'm looking
right,
at it. I'm looking at it that way and saying if
right,
we had some more branches of
right,
banks in our communities, and then
right.
that might encourage. But we do have to do something on the banking side, and
Hmm.
so people like yourself will have more access to black banks to do business with.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
we do.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I said, we would actually be better if we had like three national banks with branches in the areas that they need to be in, and we could actually do better. We can do better with less banks, but those three banks would be big because 40 million people would be using these
Hmm.
banks. Do you understand what I'm
Okay.
saying? And they would all be national. Yeah, they would be national. You know, you'd have a branch in Las Vegas. You have several branches in Chicago. You have several branches in New York
Hmm.
City. That kind of thing. The same way that Citicorp and Chase operate. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, food, definitely,
That's what I'd
definitely
rather
some
see.
food for thought. Um, some of the
Yes.
other issues we were looking at that our businesses are having, is lack of financial literacy, um, people not
Hmm.
understanding finances. As you're trying to get or working to get loans for people, do you see these kinds of
Hmm.
problems? Do you see these as problems, even though you say you're getting more Hispanics that have come to you so far? But with the black
Yeah.
businesses that have come to you, um, if they're not able to get the loan, and if they have been able to get the loan, what have been some of the challenges and then some of the positives of them being able, whether they get the loan or
Well,
not?
a lot of times it's been and lack of good documentation. Mostly
Hmm.
my facility wants to see good documentation, like really we want to see those bank statements. You know, we want to
Okay.
see in some cases we want to see that your license is current.
Hmm.
You know, those just real basic stuff in terms of like your credit score, uh, your banking, how's your revenues doing, and any other encumbrances or liens that you may have on your business from other financing situations that you might might have started to keep your business going. Just real basic stuff. And
Okay.
sometimes our black banks don't have everything. It's like one person who was black just had to correct one thing because they were turned down initially,
Hmm.
and then uh, they forgot that they were dealing with two banks in terms of like banks that their business was using,
Hmm.
and then when they came up with the other paperwork, they got approved.
Hmm.
Just real simple stuff.
Okay. So,
You know what I mean? Just real simple stuff, and a lot of times. And the lowest credit score that I deal with is 550.
oh wow.
Um, You know, so if all right, 550. So, but on the other hand, we're looking at the revenues from your business, and we see that you've been in business for a while, and the business continues to be viable, and even with that low credit score, that low credit score, you're still getting funded.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a lot of variables that that come into play whenever you're approaching somebody like me for a loan.
Okay. So what are some variables that people need to look at when they're coming to you for a loan? What do they need to have all in place as far as having all ducks in line?
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, um, most Now, my system will find out your credit score,
Mm-hmm.
so that's not uncommon upon you. But to have that license, the two main things are any kind of licenses that are current that the lender may ask for, and those bank statements, main two things. And then,
Mm-hmm.
he has to they also do a search to find out if this is a real place or not. And nowadays that's easy with Google Maps and so forth. Oh, okay, that's Denise, that's Denise's cupcakes right there. Okay, so this is a real business. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and that kind of thing. So it's
Okay.
not a whole it's not very complicated. Now, what I offer is like standard what is called like standard business funding, um, uh, up to up which is like anywhere but from 30,000 all the way up to 2 million. um, I don't require any kind of real estate collateral. uh, Minimum of 4 months in business, uh, having at least uh, uh, in the middle instance at least $15,000 a month in sales, monthly sales, and the owner has like a minimum personal 550 credit score. Preferred funding is for people that have uh, a FICO score of like 700 or more,
Mm-hmm.
and those people get like repayment rates. Interest rates which are much lower than the standard because they have a high credit score.
What is
Um,
the
they're doing like,
what is the range for the interest rates on these business loans?
oh, okay, now I can't
Mm-hmm.
say, but I'd say that the range can be anywhere between uh, 10% or, well, from preferred all the way from 8% all the way up to 18%
Mm-hmm.
on credit. And it may be more in some cases, depending on how bad things and you got them, but are still able to be funded. But I can't say
Mm-hmm.
in certainty what a credit score, an interest rate will be because every individual case is different.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I did want to ask you. You mentioned you basically are looking for bank statements, um, and licensure. What about tax returns? They don't ask for.
Yes, tax returns is another, can be another. In some cases, some of my lenders may ask for tax returns, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they don't.
Oh.
Depends on the lender that wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I will say have those tax returns handy
Okay. Mm-hmm.
just in case.
Okay. And so all of this is the so once they meet have all of this information, then everything is done online or um,
Yes, everything is done online. They generally take about at least about 24 hours to go over
mm-hmm,
everything. Then they notify you by email. You got your bank account, your checking account number already within the system that they ask for, and then uh, once they approve it, the money's in your account between 24 to 48
from the
hours.
time that you apply for the loan.
Yes, they don't take
Mm-hmm,
long. They don't take long at all because they once they put excuse me, once you're in the system, they have both human and automated means to go over an application and your documentation. That's why it doesn't
okay.
take long. And then uh, if they turn you down, they'll let you know why, what's missing, and what's needed.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's a small correction, or sometimes if you get your money up and try again maybe a month or so, or 2 month, 3 months later, you it, you might have been turned down before, but you may get approved the next time. So that's how it works.
Okay. Okay. So, what are usually the terms of somebody is getting a business loan? I know it's different from people getting an individual loan. Um, would do you give?
No, no,
It's
no.
the
It's the
same.
same. It's the same for a same for
Okay.
the business loan. They give you different terms depending on what your situation is, what you're using the loan for, et cetera, et
Now, do
cetera,
you
et cetera.
give the bridge loans, the types of loans that somebody might need to, make it to the next month or the next pay period? You give those kinds of loans.
Those are those are possible. Uh, I don't I'm not I cannot give a definitive on that one, but I do say still
Hmm.
approach me because I don't know which lender may accept it.
Okay. So most of these are.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Matter of fact, yeah, because but a lot of loans are used for that purpose anyway. Because it's the same way as a person like that has a business that's getting a loan to meet payroll.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a type of bridge loan.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, so yes, those kinds of loans are possible through my system
Okay. And what is the loan range again? You want to repeat that again?
for between 300 to 2 million.
$300
Three hundred
to
dollars
2 million.
to 2 million.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what are the so the terms, well, I guess depending on the business and what their revenues are like.
It depends on it's going to be different contract.
Uh-huh.
I cannot, spell out anything in concrete because anything that I say in terms of terms does not go across the board.
Okay.
It does not go across the board at
Okay.
all.
So someone that is starting up a business, you said they need to be in business for at least 4 months. Because
Right.
somebody that's trying to start a business, um,
We do not
no
provide
startup
startup capital.
capital at all. They
No,
have to go
no,
in and
no.
show at least a 4 months performance. Would that be
Yes.
reasonable?
Yeah. Banks generally, yeah, yeah. Banks don't do
Hmm.
startup capital for
Okay.
nobody. You know, most of the time when a person is starting up a business, that's from like their own funds or money that they borrow from friends and family, money that they've saved up. If and with the fact that more businesses fail than succeed, banks would actually go out of business if they were in the business of providing startup
Okay.
capital. That's not what banks are for. Banks are for ongoing
Okay.
businesses.
Now, when they're looking
Yeah.
at your bank statements show exactly where money is going.
Yes.
And so there's an amount there, but then are they also looking at how and what the money is being spent on, in terms of how the person is
Yes.
handling their business?
Generally, yes. Generally, yes. But what they're looking for is the fact that your business is viable, you are making money, and you are making enough somewhere in there that they figure out that you're able to pay the loan
Hmm.
back, in the course of you doing
Okay, because I,
business.
I
And
I
in my
asked
facility,
that question.
in some cases,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yes. Oh, in my facility, in some cases, the payback is weekly. In some cases, the payback is monthly. Depends.
Okay. Okay. And the reason I asked that question is because I know a lot of our businesses, are struggling, and they're struggling for different
Hmm.
reasons, whether people in the community, people are
Hmm.
not supporting them, or there's might be some business management issues. I know probably one of the
Hmm.
major issues is keeping stock of things. If I were to say a complaint I might have is I don't have that, you know. We don't have that. We're out of that.
Okay.
Not keeping stock, because that's what helps to keep that flow of money as well. So just it's interesting to me as how a bank is looking at that bank statement and looking in that
Okay.
closely. A business person. And I'm not a business person like that, to that detail, but I can understand.
Okay. Well,
You
let's
see,
let's
you
let's
see, you
let's
see, you
let's
see, you
let's
see where
let's
I'm
talk about
going.
that problem. Yeah, but see, let's look at that problem. Okay, why is that person
Mm-hmm.
out of stock? If they've been making sales, it's somebody's been buying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's been buying it. Is the fact that somebody's been buying that particular item is the reason that they're out of stock. Now that's a good problem to
Mm-hmm.
have. So uh, maybe the reason that you might need a loan would be to beef up your
Okay.
inventory.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So that your customers are not going elsewhere for that product because you're constantly running out. That's a good problem to have. Okay. The bad problem is that if you still have it and it's still sitting there, that's a bad
Mm-hmm.
problem because nobody's buying from you. Okay. So I would say that that would be a viable reason to get a loan.
Okay.
Okay. And along with that particular item, how are all the other items in your store selling? Are they selling
Mm-hmm.
too? Okay. I mean, is there a good base of revenue coming in? All right. Do you have a cushion so that you are that are doing keeping the store alive, like the lights on and the heating and the air conditioning, uh, paying your one or two employees, paying yourself, and also having enough capital to replenish goods. And in that case, a loan might not be what you need. A line of credit might be the better option
Now,
for
do
you to
you offer
have.
that?
Dennis?
Okay.
Yes, I do.
You offer lines of credit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, a line of credit may be the better option rather than a straight up loan.
Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot they can tell me.
Because that way,
Yeah, because there's a lot you can tell by looking at that bank statement, more than just the
right,
flow, but how that money is flowing and where that money is going and where it's not going. I mean, you could miss. They can look at your bank
right,
statement and see, well, last month you didn't pay, or for 2 months in a row you didn't pay your
right,
light bill, your gas bill, or or maybe your employees didn't get paid.
uh,
I mean, they'll be able to see that. Those types of things. They'll be looking
right,
at that bank statement.
right.
Hmm.
Right. Well, I would say like, in a lot of cases, and I would say maybe one third of the businesses that have came my way, that were looking for a loan, I after they explained to me what the problem was, I steered them toward a line of credit.
Hmm.
And that actually worked out better for them than a straight up
Okay.
loan,
Okay.
where they're peeling off what they need at
Right.
the moment, you know what I'm saying, and putting that money back. And the nice thing
Hmm.
about a loan of credit through my system is that every time that you put money back, that adds to your available money for later on.
Okay.
It's very nice in that respect, especially if you have a situation where sometimes you might run short of capital, but you are still making sales.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So to
Okay.
carry a line of credit of let's say 25,000 would probably be a good thing for a lot of businesses
Hmm.
rather than just a block loan of $25,000.
Well, you really a special. You're a special guy. You're in a special position because people trying to get money, trying to get loans, and you call these companies, and you know the a lot of the people maybe not have a vested interest in whether you get the loan or not, but
Hmm.
you're able to look at that person and their business individually and
Right.
sit down and go out to battle to bat for them
Yes.
and see what's going to be the best product you can get and help them in terms of packaging their loan.
Yeah.
So like a loan officer would do.
Kind of. Kind of. Because like I mean, they know their business, but it's kind of like uh, you kind of know your numbers. Some people
Hmm.
will ask me now. Sometimes a person will know exactly what they want because let's say they might need $20,000 to get a particular piece of equipment. I can't really negotiate that because they know exactly what they need. They need $20,000 to get this piece of equipment. Okay, fine.
Okay.
That's what I work on. You know,
Hmm.
but in more organic things like that have to do with cash flow and various things that are going on in their business. In some cases, they may ask me for a large loan when in actuality they really need a smaller loan. Okay, they might ask me for, and in the other case, they might ask me for a loan, but they really would be better off getting a line of credit instead. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Or in other cases, they may ask me for a small loan when they actually need a larger loan.
So what would be,
Depends.
but before I ask you this question, I do want to say, family, we're talking with Arthur Ward. He is a loan facilitator. And if you
Mhm.
have a business and you need to get a loan to do whatever you need to do as far as your business is concerned, you can contact Arthur. Arthur, you want to give us your contact information?
Yes, my you can email or text me. My phone number is 312-256-5698. That again, that's 312-256-5698. My email address is Arthur, Arthur, Ward, WARD 777 at gmail.com.
Okay. So I'd like for you to spell out some real scenarios as to why some of these businesses might want to get a loan. To give us some real type
Okay,
of
well,
reasons.
I'll give you a scenario. It was a scenario with a, a bake shop out in a bakery in Houston, and a lady was asking me for a loan. Okay, and she's been in business for about 10
Hmm.
years, and she explained her situation to me. She wanted to get like $50,000 to sit in her bank account just to have some capital. And then I said, well, why do you need that? And then she explained to me why she needed it. And so I said, you know what, ma'am, you don't need that money in what you need is a line of credit.
So
So
why
what
did
we
she think
did,
she needed it?
so that she would have access to that money sitting in her bank account. But see, she's paying interest on money that she's not using.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if she established a line of credit, she would only pay interest on money that she
Okay,
used.
that makes sense.
That may
Yeah, that makes more sense.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So what we ended up closing up on, it was a $55,000 line of credit,
Okay,
and she's very
very
satisfied with that.
satisfied with that. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So that was, yeah, because when you did the math, she would be paying a lot more for that loan than she would be for the line of credit. She's still paying interest, but why pay interest on a $50,000 that's sitting in your
Mm-hmm.
bank account? Whereas, let's say this week you might need uh you might need
Mm-hmm.
$2,000. So you only pay, as long as you got that $2,000 out, you're only paying interest on $2,000.
Okay.
You understand?
And then someone who wants to
And you
purchase,
making it,
like
yeah,
someone who wants to purchase an item that they need for their business.
special machine for her. If she needed a special machine for her business, let's say that machine costs $10,000, a better option would be just to get the loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what if somebody wants to expand their business and they need to,
Expand the business.
yeah, expanding the business,
Yeah.
or maybe getting
Uh-huh.
another location, for their business, and that way either expand the business itself or start to open up another little franchise.
Okay. Now, the only thing that I would do in that particular instance would be to take the application, allow them to take to offer the application, and then see if any of my lenders would be willing to deal roll the dice on that situation.
Hmm.
Now, expansion is not what I deal with. Okay. Now, my some of my lenders may deal with that scenario because what they'll do is um, they'll look at the revenues of the business. They'll look at the potential of her making that expansion, and in this particular case, the longevity of the business that she already has would play a major factor as to whether or not somebody would fund her for that purpose.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense? Yeah,
Okay. The longevity of the
yeah,
business, not the.
yeah. The business that she already
Okay.
has, and how well has it been doing? Let's say over the past 5 years.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
And
Because I,
does it
because
matter? Does it matter what the types of business you have? Does that matter at all? Do they tend to
not
fund certain types of
no,
businesses?
no, that's pretty. I generally fund all types of businesses.
Hmm.
Even I even deal with nonprofits.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what about
they
and,
they
and what
don't really
about
care to.
home-based businesses?
Oh, now that's a different scenario.
Hmm.
Okay, now I would say still approach me. Now many home-based businesses are quite viable, and as long as they're showing that revenue from the business,
Hmm.
there's a high likelihood that they could get funded.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, if my facility is willing to fund an Uber driver for whatever reason, if you have a viable home-based business and you've been doing business for a while, why not?
Okay. And what about people who have rental properties?
Now we will be going into mortgages very soon.
Okay.
So that's something that my facility is working on. But a rental property,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Mm, they need
I'll
loans.
yeah, I'll roll the dice.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
roll the dice.
Wow. Well, this is great that because like I said,
Yeah,
we just hit briefly at the beginning, just the issue with racial discrimination, um, gentrification, just so many
right,
problems that many of our black businesses have had, and the conversation keeps coming up, lack of
hmm,
access to capital.
right,
They even talked about that during
right,
that was an issue on the table during the elections, you know, about
right,
black people and lack of funding and their ability to get
right,
capital to start up a business, to maintain a business, you know, just not
right,
getting the dollars that they need. And you seem to have a viable program here that can help a lot of people.
Right. Well, that's why I want people to call me, text me or email me,
Uh-huh.
at 312-256-5698 or at arthurward777 at gmail.com. Let's see what we can do for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you're on to something here, Arthur.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna let you have some closing statements here. We're about 4 more minutes to the top of the hour here before our show ends. Anything you want to
Okay.
share? Anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to share uh, with our business owners out here, our Black business owners?
Well, look, I just say, keep plugging away at your business, uh, uh, do your marketing. Um, and those that want to go into business, I say stick your neck out and do it because for Black people, that's really the only way out. These white people ain't giving us nothing.
That's
Okay.
right.
And they're always trying to cut us out of things. But at the same time, we have a tremendous amount of opportunity amongst us 40 million. We got 40 million people that we can market the base,
Mm-hmm.
these businesses open. And also, not just me, but Black people need to start putting their heads together to come up with other means of financing businesses rather than going through the normal channels, which a lot of times are closed off to us because of our race. You
And
know,
like you were talking about earlier, when you were talking about the banks and how many of the Black banks are tied to white banks,
yeah,
and they
they
have
are.
all these rules and regulations and all of these ties that make it difficult for them to really service and to flourish. You know,
Yes, yes,
you're
exactly. And
stifled. You're
but
in a situation.
yeah, but at the same time, it's difficult for Black banks to establish real independence because of the fact that the community does not make it a priority to do
Hmm.
their savings and banking at Black banks. It's
That's right.
50-50.
And that is why we're doing what we're doing here at Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. There needs to be a consciousness change. Um, we are definitely supporting reparations.
Yes.
Um, reparations can help us in this in
Hmm.
this arena, don't you
Yes.
think?
Yes. It
Mm-hmm.
must. Matter of fact, with reparations, with that first wealth gap closure check, it will be an explosion of Black businesses opening.
Right.
It'd be an explosion of Black businesses that already exist, having some more means to finance their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it's going to be a lot of white people losing Black people in their employment because we're going to be doing something else. We don't have to be being employed by you to deal with your
Mm-hmm.
microaggressions and glass ceilings and all this other stuff. And in some cases, even dying because we're in proximity to you. It was over 200 and something people that died on 9/11, 200 something Black people that died on 9/11. Why? Because they were working in white businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There wasn't no planes going to the south side of Chicago. There wasn't no planes going to Harlem. Okay. Am I
Mm-hmm.
right or wrong?
You're right. You're right. My goodness. Mm-mm-mm.
If y'all wasn't up in them white businesses, you wouldn't have died.
And we do have so much that we can that we could be doing. you know we're very
Yeah,
creative people, we're very resourceful people, and we have so much to
yeah,
offer. And it's constantly being we're constantly being corralled and controlled.
yes.
Yeah,
Controlled.
yeah.
Yeah. Gas station on the south side owned by nobody but a Black person.
Right, Right.
There
And
should be no
we used to have a
none.
lot of black owned
Sh-
gas stations.
Show did. I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we did.
You
I
know,
do
now we
too.
got, yeah, now we got, when we walk up to the windows, somebody named Habib is back there and stuff. Can't
Mm-hmm.
hardly understand that some bitch. You understand? So
And
it's like,
they're not giving any dollars back. They're not
no,
circulating any of those dollars back. So the
no,
fact that our people are still standing with the
yeah,
resources that have been taken and removed, the fact that we are still standing
mhm,
is a testimony to the strength that we have and the great people that we are.
right. But we have to be
Absolutely.
greater. We got to be a lot more self-aware. We got to be a lot more operative between each other, and we have to practice some degree of love and tolerance so that we can get along and make this money. Because our lack of that is actually keeping us
Hmm.
poor. Our lack of cooperation between each other keeps us poor. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Well, Arthur, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm appreciating what you're doing, and I'm wishing you much success and family. Those of you who have businesses out there or know people who have businesses, please let them know about Arthur Ward. You can view this podcast again if you missed it or missed any part of it. And again, you can contact Arthur. Give us your contact information one more time.
yes, my phone number is 312-256-5698, and my
Okay, Arthur, I'm going to let you finish giving your information.
yeah.
We had a premature
Oh,
ending here. Go ahead, finish
I
giving.
was saying, and my email is Arthur, Arthur, Ward, Ward, 777 at gmail.com.
Okay. All right. So we got to get these
Yeah.
businesses going and keeping these businesses afloat and flourishing. All right,
Yes.
Arthur. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay,
Thank
we
you.
will end
Thank you.
again.